There's a lizard on your porch right now, maybe on the railing, maybe flattened against the warm brick beside the light. And when you open the door, it does what it always does. It freezes. Then it's gone. Most people never think about it again. It's scenery, same as the mailbox. Other people think about it too much. They knock it off the wall with a broom. They slide a sticky board down beside the door. They pay a company to spray the foundation twice a year. Here's what almost nobody knows. That lizard is not passing through. It lives there. And in the hours you don't see it, it's running the most efficient pest control operation on your property. It's eating the roaches breeding inside your walls, the mosquitoes waiting for you at dusk, the spiders in the corners of your garage, every day, for free. It has never sent you a bill. And right now, across the American South, those lizards are vanishing off porches. Not because of a predator, not because of disease, because of something a homeowner buys at a hardware store for a few dollars and puts down on purpose. Stay with me, because by the end of this, you're going to know exactly what that animal eats, what's killing it, and the one thing you might be doing that's quietly destroying your own defense. Start here, because almost everyone gets this wrong. There isn't one lizard on your porch. There are two, and they work different shifts. The one you see in daylight is almost certainly a green anole, 5 to 8 inches long, most of that tail. Native to the southeastern United States, from southern Virginia through the Florida Keys and west into Texas and Oklahoma. Bright green when it's warm and calm. Brown when it's cold or stressed. People call it the American chameleon, which it isn't. It doesn't change color to hide. It changes with temperature and mood, so the color is telling you how he's doing. The one on your wall at night is something else. That's a gecko. Across the Gulf South, it's usually the Mediterranean house gecko, pale and soft-looking with dark eyes, stuck near the porch light. It isn't from here. It arrived along the Gulf Coast in the early 20th century, most likely riding inside shipping crates, and has spread across the southern states, as far north as Maryland and as far west as California. Two animals, one property. One works the day, one works the night. Between them, your house is covered around the clock. And what they eat is the exact list of things you're afraid of. Start with the day shift. The green anole is a sit-and-wait hunter. It picks a perch, holds still, and waits for something to move. When it does, the anole closes the distance in a fraction of a second. It eats crickets, flies, moths, beetles, ants, termites, slugs, worms, and cockroaches. It also eats spiders, a lot of spiders. Hold on to that one. The night shift is more specialized, and honestly, it's smarter. Watch a gecko after dark, and you'll notice it never strays far from the light. That's not the light attracting the gecko. The light attracts insects, and the insects attract the gecko. Your porch light is a trap, and the gecko worked that out long before you did. It waits at the edge of the bright zone, out in the dark, and lets your electric bill do the hunting. Moths, gnats, flies, mosquitoes, small roaches, spiders. Anything that comes to the glow. So there's the picture. You pay for the bulb. The bulb pulls in the insects. The gecko harvests them all night. In the morning, the anole clocks in. But you should be asking the obvious question, and it's the same one ecologists asked. Everything eats something. Does a lizard the size of your finger actually change how many pests live on a piece of ground? That question has an answer, and the number is not small. In the 1980s, two ecologists, Thomas Schoner and David Spiller, went to work in the Bahamas. They had a natural laboratory, dozens of small islands, some with anoles, some without. Same climate, same plants, same everything, except the lizards. They counted the spiders. The islands without lizards had roughly 10 times as many web spiders as the islands with them. 10 times, not 10%. That's a correlation, and they knew it. So they built the harder version, fenced enclosures on the mainland, and they removed the lizards from some of them at random. Then they counted again. In the plots where the lizards were pulled out, spider density ran about 2.5 times higher than where the lizards stayed. The whole food web reorganized around one small green lizard. They published it in Science in 1987, and researchers have been confirming it ever since. Anoles reach the highest population densities of any lizard on Earth. Where they live, they run the place. Now put your own house inside that number. The difference between a yard with lizards and a yard without them isn't a rounding error. It's the difference between 1 spider and 10. If that's already changing how you look at your porch, hit subscribe. We cover the hidden science behind the animals everyone gets wrong every single week. Because spiders are the easy part. The next thing on the menu is the thing living inside your walls. Cockroaches. Both animals eat them. The gecko takes them at night, on the wall and around the foundation, which is exactly the route German cockroaches travel. The anole takes them by day. Here's why that matters more than people realize. Roaches don't just get into food, they shed. Skins, droppings, saliva, body fragments. All of it dries and breaks down into household dust. And that dust is one of the most powerful indoor allergens ever studied. Cockroach allergen is detectable in about 85% of inner-city homes in the United States. Roughly 2/3 of inner-city children with asthma test sensitive to it. And when researchers stacked it against dust mites, against cat dander, against everything else in the house, cockroach allergen had the single largest effect on how severe a child's asthma got. More symptom days, more nights the parent was up, more school missed. And before you file that as a big city problem, understand this. Around 30% of suburban middle-class homes carry detectable cockroach allergen too. Lower levels, same substance. So when a gecko takes a roach off your foundation at 2 in the morning, it isn't just removing an insect. It's removing everything that insect was going to leave behind in the dust of the room where your kid sleeps. And this year, it gets more urgent. Mosquitoes. The gecko at your light eats them. The anoles take them through the day when they can. Nobody should oversell this. A gecko is not a mosquito control program, but it is a mouth working every night in the exact spot mosquitoes gather. West Nile virus is the leading cause of mosquito-borne disease in the contiguous United States. In an average year, about 2,000 Americans are diagnosed. More than 1,300 develop the severe form, where the virus reaches the brain and spinal cord. More than 130 die. There's no vaccine, and there's no cure. Here's the part you probably haven't heard. This year, the CDC recorded the earliest start to West Nile season on record, and the highest case count by this point in the year since 2004. By the end of June, 48 cases were already reported. 38 were the severe neuroinvasive form. The average by that date, going back 2 decades, is 10. 23 states were already reporting activity. The mosquitoes are early. They're early in the exact months your porch light is burning. Which brings us to the part nobody expects. Because while all of that is happening, the animals eating those mosquitoes are being wiped off American porches on purpose. Start with the spray. When you have the house treated, or when you walk the foundation with a can yourself, you're almost certainly using a pyrethroid. It's the standard household insecticide. It's sold as the gentle one, the one derived from chrysanthemums. Against insects, it works. The problem is that a lizard is not a large animal. A green anole weighs 3 to 7 grams. That's about the weight of a nickel. Toxicologists will tell you plainly that small-bodied species carry disproportionate risk because a dose that means nothing to something bigger is enormous relative to that body. Anoles and geckos get named specifically for exactly this reason. And they don't only absorb it off the wall, they eat it. These animals are insectivores. They consume nothing but insects. When the insects around your house are carrying insecticide, every meal is a dose, night after night, adding up. Now here's the detail that should stay with you. In the published toxicology on lizards, animals with only indirect contact took twice as long to show symptoms. They looked sick, and then, by the next day, they appeared to recover. They looked completely fine. Every one of them was dead within 2 months. You will never watch it happen. There's no body on the porch. There's no moment where you connect the spray to the loss. The lizard is simply there one season, and then it isn't, and you assume it moved on. It didn't move on. Then there's the other one, the cheap one. Glue traps, sticky boards, the flat panels people slide behind the fridge and beside the door. Understand what a glue trap actually is. No poison, no mechanism. An animal touches it, it's held, and it dies slowly. Starvation, dehydration, or suffocation when its face goes into the adhesive. That's the entire design. Anything that walks across it is caught. They're now banned or partly banned in England, Scotland, Ireland, Iceland, Norway, and New Zealand, along with individual towns here in the United States, precisely because of what they catch and how those animals die. And here's the part that's hard to hear. There are glue traps sold specifically for geckos, marketed for it. And the way they work is genuinely disturbing once you understand it. They're baited with synthetic insect pheromones. The trap doesn't attract lizards, it attracts what lizards hunt. It manufactures the scent of prey and the gecko, doing the one thing that makes it valuable to you, follows that trail and walks into the glue. It exploits the hunting instinct. It uses the animal's usefulness as the mechanism to kill it. A homeowner buys that board because they want fewer bugs in the house. The board works by killing the thing that was eating the bugs in the house. So what actually happens when you remove them? Most people assume it's neutral. Fewer lizards, same bugs, no real change. That isn't how it works, and the reason is arithmetic. A German cockroach carries an egg case with dozens of young inside it and goes from egg to breeding adult in about 2 months. When you spray, you kill the roaches you can reach. The survivors, the ones in the wall void, under the slab, behind the dishwasher, keep breeding on that schedule. Within a season, the population is back. Now count the lizard. A green anole lays 1 egg at a time, every couple of weeks, through a single summer. They need the better part of a year to reach maturity. In the wild, an adult lives 2 to 4 years. The roaches rebound in weeks. The lizards take years. So the spray doesn't reset your yard to 0. It resets it in favor of the fastest breeder on the property. And the fastest breeder is always the pest. You remove the slow, patient, permanent thing that was suppressing them year-round and left behind the thing that repopulates before the label on the can has faded. That's why the treatment never ends. That's why it's a subscription. The pests come back on their schedule. Your defense comes back on a much slower one, and every visit widens the gap. Which answers the question we started with. What's killing the lizard on your porch isn't a predator, it's a purchase. And the purchase was made to solve the problem the lizard was already solving. Now here's the thing I want you to take with you. Go back to that lizard on the railing. A male green anole can hold a territory of about 35 cubic feet. That's it. That's his entire world. He defends it. He displays across it with that pink flag of skin under his throat. He does push-ups on the boundary of it. Males are so committed to holding ground that they'll fight their own reflection in a window and lose to it, over and over for hours. 35 cubic feet. Your porch railing might be most of it, which means the lizard you saw this morning isn't a lizard. It's that lizard. The same one as last week. Very likely the same one as last year. He was probably born within a few feet of where he's sitting. He'll spend his whole 2 to 4 years there, hunting your insects, and he'll never leave, Because as far as he's concerned, that railing is the entire territory he has spent his life defending. He isn't a visitor, he's a resident, and he's been working for you the whole time. So the next time you see him freeze against the brick, don't reach for the broom, don't lay the board, leave the light on and let him eat. If this changed the way you see your porch, hit subscribe. And tell me down in the comments, do you have one? Does he have a name?